Coach Borrelli, a win over Kent State 21-12. You guys win. You start out of the gates really well. 25, 33, 41. You win the first three. Talk about how that drives you in a duel when you win matches like that.
Well, I think momentum in a dual meet is really big. It's a lot different than a tournament setting. In a tournament setting, momentum's kind of important, but I think it's even more important in a dual meet. Your kids, start gaining confidence in themselves as the guy in front of them wins. They get themselves more and more ready and more pumped up and more into the match. And I mean, you can't overstate how big momentum is in dual meets.
Looking at Corey Keener, he looked a lot better now than he did at the scuffle. Looked like he was battling shoulder injury at the scuffle. Is he over that? Is he out of the woods with that? He looked a lot better today.
He's getting better in a lot of areas. His wrestling's getting a little bit better. You're right, he was having some shoulder issues. He's pretty much past all of that. He was really, really sick at the scuffle. He probably shouldn't have wrestled, but he wanted to wrestle. Probably wasn't a smart move by me to have him wrestle. But, everybody goes through that. Everybody goes through the flu. Everybody goes through dings and bruises. And, it's just the grind of the season. College season's tough.
33. Joe Roth, I think he's a guy who's right there to be an All-American. What do you got to do to get him on the podium?
He's got to break through and beat some of those top 5, top 8 guys. He hasn't done that yet. You're right. He's right on the cusp of being there. But at the national tournament, he's got to win the matches against the guys that hopefully he's going to see in the quarterfinals. That's the guy he's got to beat.
2 PA guys wrestle at 141 today. Nazareth, Pennsylvania's Zach Haran and Hero here today in the locker room upstairs. Zach Haran wins, gets the reversal, and he beats Small. They're rivals. They go back and forth. 2 PA state champs. When you look at that match, what do you guys got to do in that match to win that match?
Probably what we did. We have to be able to get off the bottom. That's Tyler's, strong suit is top. He pins a lot of people. He rides a nice overleg with a side headlock and a cross-face cradle. We know we have to get off the bottom. We were pretty fortunate. That situation could have gone either way. Zach could have went to his back. He was good enough to hip heist and put Tyrell on his back. So, that's really where you have to beat him on the mat. That's where if you're better than him on the mat, you're going to win the match.
What does Scott Mattingly got to do to get back to the NCAA tournament?
He's got to knock somebody off. He had an opportunity today. He didn't take advantage of it. He's got to knock somebody off that's in the top 20, so that he gets that signature win, move him into the he's right on the cusp at top 33. I mean, he's got to win some matches that he's been real inconsistent this year. He's got to find some consistency and win that match.
157 Smith. They get in a weird position. Smith pops his Miller's elbow out. What do you tell Smith when he goes out and wrestles someone so explosive?
Well, you tell him to don't touch the guy above his ankles. Basically, you don't want to be upper body with the guy, and that's kind of Luke likes to be up there too, but we didn't want to be up there with Ian. So I hope Ian's okay. I know he's a pretty special athlete, and I hope this didn't knock him out of accomplishing his goals.
Becker and Ottinger, they win matches today. Those guys they're being, Becker's had a rough season, but he comes into a duel like this. It means a difference in the duel, a guy like that winning. What do you expect out of Becker, and what's he got to do to turn it around? He's got a losing record right now. What's he got to do to get to the NCAA tournament?
He's got to do the same thing Mattingly has to do. He has to have some signature wins for the rest of our season. Or, in the MAC tournament, maybe we have 3, 4, 5 spots at that weight. He's got to steal one of those spots. I mean, that's all there is to it.
Ottinger was with 4 seconds of riding time today. He wins close. He's beat All-American Cody Walters. What's Mike got to do to be in that the top 8 at 174 is going to be a real top 8 this year. 74 heavyweight, those weights they're lights out. What's Mike got to do to be an All-American?
He's got to continue to improve. He's got to get healthy a little bit. He hasn't been right the last couple weeks, but he's been good enough to win real close matches. He's better than that. He can score when he needs to. He just hasn't been quite right.
84. Kelleher had a pin. No pin called at 184. I thought you had a fall for about 3 seconds. It looked like a better part of 3 seconds on the bow and arrow on Wheeler. He comes back and loses that match. That's a signature win he needs. Wheeler's a top 10 guy. What do you say to someone like Craig who loses a match like that, where he's got the guy pinned, buried pinned in my opinion, totally pinned. I have video of it, him being pinned. You can watch it. But what do you say to a guy like that? That's demoralizing a little bit, and he comes back and loses by a point. the way he lost, he's dominating 6-0. What do you say to Craig?
Well, he's lost to Sam twice by a point. He lost to him by a point at the scuffle, and Sam had a great scuffle tournament. So, I mean, he's right there. You're right. That would have been a huge win for him. That would have been one of those signature wins. He's got to keep improving. He's got to listen a little bit more. He wasn't listening to us, and Sam exploited him. He's better than that.
Do you feel like he had a fall?
I don't know. It would have been nice to get the fall, but for Craig, but that's the referee's call. So.
I'm telling you, it was a fall. It's just my opinion. But 97 and 285 looks like you got guys that are real green there. What do you say to those guys after they lose those tough matches like that?
Keep improving. They're getting better. They're making progress. Even Jackson, he got beat 5-1, but he wrestled a good third period, and he got turned in the first period. It was 5-0 after the first period, and the match ends up 5-1. He just got to keep getting better. Keep believing that he's getting better.
The conference is, drastically changed. You won it in 2012 at OU. Last year you added 2 teams. You added Northern Iowa and Missouri. Missouri won it. Now Northern Iowa is tougher than nails. What do you guys got to do with Old Dominion coming in? It's not a 6-team tournament anymore. It's a 9-team tournament now. What do you got to do to win the MAC tournament? Can you win the MAC tournament?
I think we can. We have to have a real good tournament. Actually, we really have to have a real good another month and a half of improvement. And if our guys will keep improving, I think we're capable. We've got to have 10 guys, though. We really have to have 10 guys. The tournament's going to come down to not your star guys. It's not going to be the guys who win, not the 3 or 4 guys hopefully you can put in the finals. It's going to be those other 6 guys, where they place, how good a tournament they have. Because I think there's going to be 2 or 3, maybe 4 teams have quality guys. Maybe have 3 champions or 2 champions and 2 finalists. But it's going to be those other 6 guys that are going to determine who wins the tournament.
What would you say to someone saying that Central Michigan's in a rebuilding year? What would you say?
I would say that our program is definitely not where we would like it to be. I don't know if we're rebuilding. We're trying to get better. And we're trying to get better for a lot of reasons. We're trying to get better because of the things you mentioned about our conference. We have to elevate our game in our conference to be the best team in our conference, and that's a good thing because if we're the best team in our conference, we're going to be a top 5 team in the country. I think Northern Iowa and Missouri are both in the top 10. So if we can be good enough to run with those guys, we're going to be in the discussion for national trophies.
You've been in the top 10. 98 was your first year. You were top 10 in Cleveland. Being in the top 10, what do you guys got to do? You're saying run with those 2 teams. What else can you do? Get a guy in the national finals. What do you got to do to be in that trophy range besides run with Northern Iowa and Missouri? What do you got to do?
We have to improve. Our whole program has to improve as far as, we have to believe, we have to continue to work very, very hard, understand what it takes to reach that level, and then make it happen.
How do you do so much with so little? It's like you look at Tim Flynn and look at you. I rate you guys as the guys who are the pioneers of the small schools, the mid-majors, who are getting in the top 10, getting right there for that trophy range. Talking about your 98 team, would you have 5 All-Americans that year?
Yes.
Getting there, and how do you guys do so much with the resources that you have?
I don't think you focus on what you don't have. You focus on the journey, the day-to-day development of the young people in your program, and you focus on what you have, not what you don't have. If you focus on what you have, you're always positive. You always feel like you can overcome things. I like coaching at Central Michigan University. I like being a little bit in the underdog role. I like our kids being able to prove themselves against people that maybe they're not supposed to beat. I like that role.
You re-upped for 4 years on your contract last year, correct?
Yes.
How much longer do you see yourself doing this? I asked Jay Robinson. He's a little bit older than you, a lot older than you. But how much longer do you see yourself doing this?
I don't know. I don't worry about that stuff too much. I really enjoy the people that I coach. I really enjoy watching them improve. I really enjoy the day-to-day struggles of coaching wrestling. Just seeing everything about it, how difficult the sport is, what the young people have to fight through. That gets me up every morning. That makes me excited. We have morning drills early in the morning, and I try to be the first guy in there. I want to be in there telling a kid, hey, let's go, it's time to go. That's what's fun. I still enjoy it.
you've been the one constant with Central Michigan wrestling. You know, you have a 4-time All-American on your staff right now, and you have a guy who was an All-American for you, Ryan Cunningham. Now, what's that been like with the assistant coaching changes that you've had, having Ryan Cunningham on the staff? A lot of people haven't talked about him. How did you lure someone like that back into the program?
It wasn't easy. Ryan was in another career path. He was a athletic director, assistant principal in charge of discipline, and at a high school level. So, that was a big step for him to leave that career path and decide to go be an assistant on a Division I college level. So, but I have a great staff. Ryan was the first 3-time All-American at Central Michigan University, and he never redshirted. People forget that. He never redshirted. Ben was the first 4-time All-American at Central Michigan University. So I couldn't be working with people that want to represent our program more and that have done great things for our program already and really want to see that continue.
Looking at Ben, he's competing today in the Agon. When you see guys that are able to compete, postgraduate competition, how good is that for your program to draw guys in to train with them?
Very good, very good. Ben wants to give the Olympics a shot, and we're all for him. We're real excited about it. We want to see what happens. The screwy thing is they just changed the weight classes again, and that doesn't help him a whole lot because he's a little small even for 185. But you got to do what you got to do. You got to figure it out. And we want to help him as much as we can with that.
Traveling through the blizzard today or yesterday, how was that?
Wasn't bad.
You said it was nothing to me.
Nothing. I coached for 5 years in Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan at Lake Superior State. So this weather around Cleveland's nothing.
All right. Are you guys heading back to next year onto the Borrelli Bowl? Are you heading back to Palo Alto, California? Are you guys going to return the favor? They came here this year. Are you going back to Stanford to wrestle them?
Probably. We haven't talked about scheduling yet, but we probably will. That's a good trip for our guys, too.
Will you ever be their outdoor duel?
Maybe. That might be something we talk about.
What's it like? It's the first time you ever lost to Jason. What was that like losing to your son?
It stunk. It stunk. I don't like losing, period.
What do you tell him? You guys talk a lot, I know that. What do you tell Jason about what they're doing out there in California?
He's really doing a good job. He's recruiting very, very well. His team's only going to get better. I can tell by some of the kids he's recruited. He's really getting some blue chip kids, I think. And everybody thinks he's got Mango, who's a senior. He's got Shearer, his 97-pounder, who's a senior. Everybody thinks they're going to drop off, but people don't know what he has in his room. He might have a better team in his room. So I'm excited for him.
Will we ever see him back in Mount Pleasant coaching, or is that a question I'd ask him?
You probably need to ask him that. I think he's pretty happy in Palo Alto right now.
It's warm. It's a little warmer there.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, you got anything else for me?
No, thanks a lot, Zeb.
Hey, safe travels.